What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my breakdown and predictions for UFC Fight Night, Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another fight card prediction. We're at the UFC APEX. Very good card here. I like it quite a bit. I think there's a lot of great matchups on it, including this main event of Tyron Woodley, a guy who just got dominated in his last fight against Kamaru Usman, one of the best in the UFC. And you got Gilbert Burns, someone who's been looking absolutely phenomenal, the more hungry fighter out of the two. But this is a big step up in competition for Gilbert Burns. I'm really excited to see how it plays out. Before we start the video, if you guys can leave a like, also subscribe if you haven't yet, really appreciate that. And also wanted to say thank you guys for 2,000 subscribers. That's awesome. Next step is 3,000. Thank you guys for that. Again, I couldn't do it without you guys, obviously. So let's keep growing the channel here, and yeah, let's get started here. Going to be giving my predictions and going over some of the stats for some of the fights. Some of the fights I can't really get into the stats, but yeah. Just a disclaimer here, some of the stuff you see on here, like the records and stuff, some of them are not updated on UFC.com. It's what I use for this video, but I get all my stuff and stats and stuff from Tapology.com. They're usually really accurate. So what I'm telling you is right. What's on here might not be right all the time. So I know I've got a couple comments on that. And also, we do not have a picture of Vince Morales, which sometimes UFC.com does this where they don't have a picture of somebody. And also, we do not have a picture of Tyron Woodley as well. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but just a heads up there. But we will start with the first fight of the night: Chris Gutierrez, Vince Morales. Gutierrez, he is 29 years old. He is 5'9" with a 67-inch reach. He is 14-3, and he has a 4-1 record in his last 5 fights. He lands 3.65 significant strikes per minute with a 55% striking accuracy. He absorbs 2.30 significant strikes per minute with a 64% striking defense. He averages 0.38 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 33% takedown accuracy and a 67% takedown defense. He wins 46% of his fights by knockout, 8% by submission, 54% finish rate overall, and he has lost by decision twice. He's been submitted once. As for Vince Morales here, he is 29 years old as well. He's 5'7", 2-inch height disadvantage here, but he does have a 1-inch reach advantage with a 68-inch reach. He's 9-4 with a 2-3 record in his last 5 fights. He lands 4.93 significant strikes per minute with a 36% striking accuracy. He absorbs 5.53 significant strikes per minute with a 52% striking defense. No takedowns for Vince Morales in the UFC. I think most of this fight's going to play out on the feet. I don't really see either guy going for any takedowns here. But Morales has won 56% of his fights by knockout, 22% by submission, and has a 78% finish rate. He's lost by decision twice, and he's been submitted twice as well. And as for the odds for this fight, you got to pick them here. Chris Gutierrez minus 115, Vince Morales minus 105. So pretty much you pick them here. But yeah, I think I like Vince Morales in this fight. This fight's going to be very close. How I see it playing out, I think Morales is going to come here with a game plan of, putting the pressure on Gutierrez. Don't let him get off those leg kicks. If Gutierrez gets off those leg kicks, Morales doesn't close the distance. I think it's going to be a very long night for Vince Morales here, but I just see Morales closing the distance, landing the harder shots, the more convincing shots, and getting a very close decision here. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did knock Gutierrez out. Obviously, Gutierrez has never been knocked out, but it definitely can happen. Morales does hit pretty hard, but as long as he comes in here with a game plan of upping that volume compared to last fights, throwing a lot of volume out there and closing the distance, I think Morales will take this decision. Like I said, a very close fight. Probably could go either way, but I'm going to lean with Vince Morales here. All right, next we have a pretty fun fight here with Luis Smolka versus Casey Kenney. Casey Kenney is 29 years old. He is 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. He is 13-2, and he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He lands 2.67 significant strikes per minute with a 50% striking accuracy. He absorbs 5.33 significant strikes per minute with a 57% striking defense. He has 1.33 takedowns per 15 minutes with an 80% takedown accuracy, 52% takedown defense. He averages 0.33 submissions per 15 minutes. Kenney, 15% knockout rate for Kenney, submission 31% of the time, and then he has a 46% finish rate overall. He's lost by decision twice, and he has never been finished. Luis Smolka, he's 28 years old. He is 5'9" with a 68.5-inch reach. He is 16-6, and he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He averages 4.22 significant strikes per minute with a 46% accuracy. He absorbs 3.47 significant strikes per minute with a 53% striking defense. Averages 1.65 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 34% takedown accuracy, and he has a 30% takedown defense, which is absolutely awful. And he does have a 2.09 submissions average per 15 minutes. Smolka wins by knockout 40% of the time and submission 47% of the time for a finish rate of 87%. He's lost by decision 4 times, and he has been submitted twice. As for the odds of this fight, Casey Kenney is a minus 265 favorite, and Smolka is a plus 225 underdog. I like Kenney a lot in this fight. I think he is better pretty much everywhere. I think he can take down Smolka at will. I do not see Kenney in much danger. Kenney has pretty good BJJ. The only way I see Smolka winning is maybe he gets a submission on Kenney. I just think Kenney's too good on the ground for that to happen. I think Kenney's just going to have his way with Smolka, take him down multiple times. If he wants to keep this on the feet, I think he can for sure. I just see him taking down Smolka, controlling him, maybe taking him down multiple times. Maybe, even getting a submission himself. We've seen Smolka submitted before, but I just think Kenney's going to come out here and get a dominant decision, 30-27, 30-26. So give me Kenney by decision here. All right, this should be another fun fight, and if you guys like wrestling, grappling, this is gonna be another fun fight. Lots of grappling in this fight. You got Tim Elliott. He is 33 years old, kind of on his way out in his career. He is 5'7" with a 67-inch reach. He is 5'10", and he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. And you got Brandon Royval. He is 27 years old, 5'7", 70.5-inch reach, which is a 3.5-inch reach advantage. He is 10-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. As for the odds here, Tim Elliott is a minus 165 favorite, and Brandon Royval is a plus 145 underdog. This fight is kind of close. I think it can go one of two ways. I think Elliott can take down Royval whenever he wants. I think Elliott has very, very good wrestling. We've seen Royval been taken down plenty of times and controlled plenty of times. We saw Casey Kenney even, control Royval throughout their whole fight. I think Elliott can do the same thing. It's just Elliott puts himself in a lot of bad positions a lot of times. We see Elliott make a lot of mistakes on the mat. He's been submitted, a couple times. He's been submitted, looks like he's been submitted 2 times in the UFC. I wouldn't be surprised if Royval did submit him. Elliott definitely does, put submission over position. He could lose positions, and Royval's BJJ is no joke at all. I think his BJJ is very, very good. I would not be surprised if Royval did, throw something from his back and get a submission off his back. But I just see Elliott, being the stronger fighter, getting takedowns, controlling Royval for, points at a time in the fight, and just probably racking up multiple takedowns throughout the fight and winning a comfortable decision. But honestly, I would not be surprised if, Elliott shot for a takedown with his neck open and, Royval snatched up that neck and got a submission. But I'm going to go Elliott here to win by decision. It is a close fight because I do think it can go either way, and we have seen Elliott submitted before, and this guy Royval is BJJ's no joke. So close fight. I'm going with Elliott by decision. But it is, a very dangerous fight. Would definitely not touch this from a betting perspective because I do think Elliott could be in trouble on the mat. If he does, make a mistake, I think Royval can make him pay for it. But I'm going to go Elliott by decision here. All right, good fight here. You got Jamal Hill versus Clifton Abreu. You got Jamal Hill. He's 29 years old. He is 6'4" with a 79-inch reach. He is 7-0, and he is 5-0, obviously, in his last 5 fights. Clifton Abreu, he is 27 years old. He is 6'1", with a 74-inch reach. He is 15-4 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. The betting odds, you got Jamal Hill, he's a minus 125 favorite, and Clifton Abreu, he's a plus 105 underdog. And I'll come right out and say it, I like Clifton Abreu in this fight. I think if this fight plays out on the feet, which I don't think it will the whole time, I think if it did, I have Jamal Hill all day. I think he's the far better striker. By a decent margin. I think he's a really, really talented striker. It's just he's so green on the mat. His takedown defense is not good at all. And Abreu has not been really successful with takedowns in the UFC too much, but that's because he's been fighting guys with very, very good takedown defense. Now he's going up against somebody in Hill whose takedown defense is not the best at all, and Hill's ground game is very, very green. We saw Stochik take him down, 4 times. I wanted Stochik to take him down even earlier than he did, but he waited a little bit too long. He probably waited a little bit too late, but Stochik could have took him down whenever he wanted. Hill did a good job at getting back up, but I'm not so sure he's going to be able to get back up if Abreu takes him down. Abreu is not Darko Stochik. I do think if Abreu gets him down, he could get a submission, but I do think Hill's takedown defense and ground game is a huge liability. Like I said, if this plays out on the feet, I have Hill all day. I just think Abreu is going to get him down, and I do think Abreu can definitely get a submission. So I'm going to go Clifton Abreu by submission. Like I said, if this played out on the feet, Hill all day, I just don't think it's going to happen. So I am going to pick Clifton Abreu by submission here. All right. This fight should be very interesting, kinda. Katlyn Chookagian versus Antonina Shevchenko. I've actually been going back and forth on this fight. At first, I was on Chookagian, but now I'm kind of on Shevchenko. I'll tell you why here. But Chookagian, she is 31 years old. She is 5'9" with a 66-inch reach. She is 13-3, and she is 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She lands 4.11 significant strikes per minute with a 32% striking accuracy. She absorbs 4.49 significant strikes per minute with a 63% striking defense. No takedowns in the UFC for her, and she does have a 50% takedown defense. She has won 15% of her fights by knockout and 8% by submission. Not really a finisher, more of a point fighter, winning decisions type of girl. She's lost by decision twice, and she's lost by knockout once. Antonina Shevchenko, she is 35 years old. She is 5'8" with a 68-inch reach. Gonna have a 2-inch reach advantage there. She's 8-1, and she is 4-1 in the last 5 fights. She lands 4.02 significant strikes per minute with a 53% striking accuracy. She absorbs 2.37 significant strikes per minute with a 65% striking defense. She averages 0.83 takedowns for 15 minutes, 100% takedown accuracy, and a 58% takedown defense. She won, 29% of her fights by KO, and she has a finish rate of 71%. She's lost by decision once in the UFC. Looking at the odds here, Chookagian is a plus 115 underdog, and Antonina Shevchenko is a minus 135 favorite. When I first saw the odds, I thought Chookagian should obviously be a favorite. Just coming off of a championship fight with, of course, Shevchenko's sister, Valentina. Got finished in that fight, but after watching the tape and going over everything, I did change my pick to Shevchenko here. I think Chookagian has a path to victory if she does use some wrestling, but that's just not something she's done in the UFC, and that's why I gotta favor Shevchenko here. I think she's the better striker. Obviously, this fight's going to be close. All of Chookagian's fights are pretty much close. I do think it has split decision written all over it, but I'm going to go with Shevchenko. I think she's the better striker. I think she's going to land the harder shots as well, the more convincing shots. Would not touch this fight from a betting perspective ever, but I do think Shevchenko is going to win. Like I said, I was surprised when I saw that Chookagian was the underdog, but now I kind of get it. If Chookagian had some wrestling and she used her wrestling, I do think Chookagian would be a decent-sized favorite here, but she does not. So I do favor Antonina in the striking, and I do think Antonina Shevchenko is going to win a decision. Definitely don't see a finish here, but I do think she's going to win a very, very close decision. It might even be controversial. So give me Antonina Shevchenko by decision. All right, next we have a very, very fun fight here. This is my prediction for fight of the night. You have Billy Quarantillo versus Spike Carlisle. Billy Quarantillo, he is 31 years old. He is 5'10", with a 70-inch reach. He is 13-2 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Spike Carlisle, he is 27 and he is 5'10", and he has 71-inch reach. He is 9-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Looking at the odds here, Billy Quarantillo, minus 145 favorite. Spike Carlisle, plus 125 underdog. Yeah, this fight honestly is very close. It is going to be at a catch weight of 150 pounds, I believe. I've heard that Billy Quarantillo has been training nonstop, so I do think he's ready. Spike Carlo is the one that asked for this catch weight, so I do worry about, has he been training? Is his cardio on point? We've seen fights in the past where Spike has gassed out. We've seen fights where he was laying on the mat in between the rounds, just dead tired. So I am very concerned about Spike Carlisle's cardio here. He did look very good against Alon Cruz. Obviously, he got that knockout. I think I was like one of the only people that was on Spike Carlisle in that fight. That was a very, very nice knockout. I can definitely see something like that happening here. Spike Carlisle coming out here, really fast, trying to get that finish really early. If he does not get that finish early, I do think this is Billy Q's fight here. I think Billy Q is going to have a huge cardio advantage. I think he's the more skilled fighter. It's just Carlisle is so dangerous, especially in that first round. So if Billy can avoid that knockout shot in the first round, I think he can take over in the second and finish the fight in the second or third, or even win a decision here. I just think Carlisle's cardio is not going to hold up all 3 rounds. I even think he can possibly be tired, towards the end of that first round even. Like I said, he asked for this catch weight. I don't know if he's been training. Maybe he has, but I do not, trust Carlisle's cardio here. So I am going to pick Billy Quarantillo. Would I be surprised if Carlisle came out here and took Quarantillo down, pounded him out in the first, couple minutes? No. Would I be surprised if he knocked him out on the feet? No. But I do think Quarantillo will weather that storm and end up taking over later in the fight. I see a lot of love for Spike Carlisle. Definitely get it. Very dangerous fighter. I just don't trust his cardio. I think Quarantillo has a huge, huge cardio advantage. So get out of that first round. The fight is his. So give me Quarantillo. I'm going to pick him to win, actually, by a stoppage in the second round. All right, next we're going to go to the main card here. So this was supposed to be Kevin Holland versus Daniel Rodriguez. But now it is, like I said, UFC.com does not update their stuff. But now it is Gabriel Green versus Daniel Rodriguez. I'll be honest, I did not do much tape on Gabriel Green yet. But Gabriel Green, he's 27 years old. He is 5'10" with a 72.5-inch reach. He is 9-2, and he is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Daniel Rodriguez, he is 33 years old. He is 6'1". He's 74-inch reach, and he is 11-1 and he is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. So this fight is going to end inside the distance. I'll tell you that right now. If you guys want to, bet the inside the distance prop, I'm not going to go over this too much. I do think Rodriguez is the better fighter overall from just what I've seen so far out of Green. I think he's the more technical fighter. I think he is very good on the mat as well. I believe he has a black belt in BJJ as well. So he looked very, very good against Tim Means. He upset a lot of parlays probably when he did fight Tim Means. Ended up, looking very, very good, and it really surprised me. But both these guys are finishers. I believe like a combined, one fight of these guys, of Gabriel Green and Daniel Rodriguez, has went to decision. And I think it was, what was it? Was it a Daniel Rodriguez loss by decision? I think that was his only loss by decision. Other than that, these guys are finishing all their fights. So I do think someone's going to get finished. So look out for that finish prop. Don't know what it's going to be, but just checking out the line here. Rodriguez is a minus 305 favorite, and Gabriel Green is plus 220. That line just came out, so would not be surprised if that changed quite a bit. But I do think Rodriguez deserves to be the favorite here. I do think he's the better fighter overall. It's just Green's going to be very dangerous. Also note, I believe Green is coming up in a weight class as well, so that that's not really good for this matchup. I think Rodriguez is going to be the bigger fighter here, have the more power, and definitely be the more dangerous fighter. But, Green's dangerous as well. But I'm going to go with Dan Rodriguez here. I think he's going to get it done in the first round with a knockout. Green's a killer be killed guy. I think he's going to get killed here and lose the fight and get knocked out. So give me Dan Rodriguez, D-Rod, give me first round knockout here. All right, the fight we've all been waiting for here. Just kidding, but we don't have a picture for Hannah Cyphers either. Come on, UFC. But yeah, Mackenzie Dern, Hannah Cyphers. Just looking at the odds here first. Mackenzie Dern is a pretty big favorite. She is minus 430, Hannah Cyphers is plus 134, 145. Mackenzie Dern, she is 27 years old. She is 5'4" with a 63-inch reach. She is 7-1 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Hannah Cyphers, 27 years old, 5'1", 3-inch height disadvantage, 62-inch reach, which is a 1-inch reach disadvantage. 10-4 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. I'm going to keep this kind of short. I think Dern rolls here. I think Dern's better everywhere. If it's on the feet, I do think Cyphers is a little bit better of the striker, but I think Dern has the better power. I would not be surprised if Dern, dropped Cyphers, even knocked out Cyphers, knocked her down, submitted her. I think once Dern takes down Cyphers, if she's able to, which I do think she will at some point in the fight, I think the fight will be over shortly after. Dern has very, very good BJJ, very, very good BJJ. And we've seen Cyphers finish before. We just seen Cyphers get finished by Angela Hill and taken down by Angela Hill. I think if Angela Hill can take down Cyphers, I do think Dern can take down Cyphers as well. Big favorite. I do think it's warranted. I just don't see a path to victory for Hannah Cyphers. So give me Mackenzie Dern. I'm going to go, give me second round submission for Mackenzie Dern here. All right, next we have Roosevelt Roberts versus Brock Weaver. I mean, this should be a fun fight. Roosevelt Roberts, he is 26 years old, a young guy, still pretty green. He's 6'1", 73-inch reach, 9-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Very, very talented kid here. Looking at the odds here, Roberts is a huge favorite, minus 335, and Brock Weaver is a plus 275 underdog, which really, really surprised me. It surprised me a lot. I was expecting Roberts to be maybe like minus 200 around there. But just after looking into the fight, I think the line, is a little bit warranted. I don't really see how Brock Weaver wins this. Brock Weaver, he's 20 years old. He's 6 foot, 73-inch reach, 15-4, 5-0 in his last 5 on a 5-fight win streak. We saw in his last fight, he was getting taken down. Did not look good in that fight against Vargas. Vargas ended up kneeing him in the head, knocking him out, getting the disqualification, giving Weaver the win there. But Weaver did not look good to me at all. I think if he was struggling with Vargas's takedowns and ground game, I definitely think he's going to struggle with Roberts. So I got to favor Roberts all day here. On the feet, I like Roberts on the feet. I don't think Roberts is in too much danger on the feet. Just looking at his stats here, Brock Weaver he has a 14% knockout rate. Brock Weaver, 21% submission rate. He only finishes 35% of his fights, so not much of a finisher. And with that, Roberts has a very, very good chin. So I think the only way that Weaver wins here is by a fluke knockout. I think Roberts is better everywhere, and I think if Roberts takes this fight down to the mat, it's going to be over. I think he's going to get a submission. I think he's going to have his way with Weaver on the mat. We know what Weaver's weakness is. It is on the ground, and I do think Roberts has a very, very good ground game, and I do think he can submit Brock Weaver. So I'm going to pick Roosevelt Roberts to win, and I'm going to pick him to win by submission. I'm pretty confident in that pick, too. I just don't see how Weaver wins this fight outside of like a fluke KO. All right, now we got the co-main event. Not too sure why this is the co-main event, but it is Blagoy Ivanov versus Augusto Sakai. Blagoy Ivanov, he is 33 years old. He is 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. He is 18-3 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Augusto Sakai, he is 29 years old, 6'3", 77-inch reach, 14-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Looking at the odds here, pretty much a pick 'em here. Sakai minus 115, Ivanov minus 105. I'll be honest, I've been going back and forth on this fight. I think this is the closest fight on the card, closer than Gutierrez, Morales, closer than Chookagian, Shevchenko. I think this is the closest fight on the card. I'm gonna lean with Sakai. I do think Ivanov is very, very tough. He's never been finished. Neither has Sakai. I don't think Ivanov is ever going to get finished unless he gets hit by a truck. But he has a crazy, crazy good chin. But yeah, I like Sakai to win this fight. I think he's going to have more volume as long as Ivanov doesn't come in here with a grappling game plan and trying to take down Sakai. As long as Ivanov doesn't do that, which he hasn't been doing much in the UFC at all, I think Sakai is going to win pretty comfortably here. Don't think he's going to get knocked out by Ivanov. Ivanov does not really knock many people out. I think Sakai is just going to land the more volume shots. I can see Ivanov maybe clinching up, but like takedowns isn't really part of his game. I don't think he has the cardio to really take down guys. So I think it's going to be probably a pretty boring fight, especially for a heavyweight fight. I don't think anybody's going to get knocked out. This was going to be really, really close. I would not be surprised if they gave the decision to Ivanov. I would not be surprised if they gave the decision to Sakai, but I think Sakai is going to land the more shots, and for that reason, I'm going to side with Sakai to win by a very, very close decision. All right, up next, we have the main event here. Tyron Woodley, like I said, we don't have a picture for him, but versus Gilbert Burns, and I'm absolutely fascinated by this fight. I went over it on my Monday video, just giving my prediction on this fight alone, but I'll go over it here again. You got Tyron Woodley. He is 38 years old. He is 5'9" with a 74-inch reach, 19-4. He is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Lands 2.64 significant strikes per minute with a 48% accuracy. Absorbs 3.95 significant strikes per minute with a 57% striking defense. Averages 0.44 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 38% accuracy. 92% takedown defense. Phenomenal takedown defense unless he's fighting Kamaru Usman. Has won by knockout 37% of the time, submission 26% of the time, and has a 63% finish rate. Lost by decision 3 times and lost by knockout once. Gilbert Burns, 33 years old, 5'10", 71-inch reach, 18-3, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Averages 3.22 significant strikes per minute with a 44% striking accuracy. Absorbs 3.25 significant strikes per minute with a 57% striking defense. Averages 2.6 takedowns for 15 minutes with a 39% accuracy, and does have a really poor 42% takedown defense, but that's pretty much because he does not mind being off his back. Second-degree black belt. Does average 0.71 submissions per 15 minutes. He's won by knockout 29% of the time, submission 47% of the time, and has a 76% finish rate. He's lost by decision twice and lost by knockout once. This fight is very, very fascinating to me. I do favor Woodley in this fight. Just looking at the odds here, you got Woodley at I believe it's minus 175 favorite now. Burns is a plus 155 underdog. The fight opened up at Woodley minus like 135, and I was very, very confused at that line. I thought Woodley should be around like where he's at now, maybe like minus 200. But there are a lot of question marks surrounding Woodley, with the outside influences, with his rap career. Where's his head at? His last fight against Usman, it looked like he did not even want to be there. He didn't even show up to that fight. Just looked so bad. But I mean, that's against one of the best in the UFC and Kamaru Usman, but it just looked like he wasn't trying to me. I mean, I'm sure he was trying, but that's just what it looked like to me. And then you have Gilbert Burns, a guy that is on a hot streak, a guy that's been looking absolutely phenomenal, the hungrier guy out of the two. I think Gilbert Burns is way more hungry than Tyron Woodley. Is Woodley coming in here, to make a statement, or is he coming in here for a paycheck? There's rumors going around that he was coming in here just to get a paycheck. So that's what makes this fight so tough to call for me. But I don't think Burns is going to get Woodley down. Woodley has insanely good takedown defense. Unless, like I said, he's going against Kamaru Usman, which he's not here. Burns has pretty decent wrestling, but I don't think it's good enough to get Woodley down here. The striking, like I mentioned on my video Monday breaking it down, I did say that I think Burns can possibly win a decision if it goes all 5 rounds, maybe slightly throwing a little bit more volume than Woodley. But just looking at the stats here, Burns does not throw much more than Woodley significant strikes wise. Burns throws 3.22. Woodley throws 2.64. Woodley very, very, very low volume guy, and that's what worries me a little bit in this fight. But I think Burns is going to come in here very confident. He was very confident against Damian Maia. He was like, all week I'm going to grapple with Damian Maia, which is one of the best BJJ guys in the UFC. But yeah, I think he's going to come out here and try to strike with Woodley with confidence, and I don't think that's a good idea. Woodley hits like an absolute truck, and if he lands clean on Gilbert Burns, Burns is going down. We've seen Burns knocked out before. This fight, I want to pick Burns, but I just don't, honestly, I don't really see a path to victory for Burns besides maybe winning a very, 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 very close decision. So I'm going to go with Woodley. I'm going to pick Woodley to win by knockout in the second round. I think Burns is going to come here and overly confident. Burns has been looking very hot, and I think Woodley's going to put him out with a hard shot. People forget how hard Woodley hit and how good Woodley actually is. Before, he lost to Usman, he was on a very nice win streak there. Fought guys, way better competition than Burns has been fighting. Burns has been fighting guys like Alexei Konchenko. Damian Maia is always a tough out, but this is a huge step up in competition for Gilbert Burns, and I favor Woodley here all day. It's just what gets me is like, where is Woodley's head at? So that's what makes it's so tough to call. If I knew Woodley was coming here motivated, trying something to prove, I have Woodley all day. It's just a lot of question marks in this fight. So for that reason, I'm not going to touch this from a betting perspective. I'm just gonna sit back and watch. I do like Gilbert Burns a lot as a fighter. I'm not really a huge fan of Tyron Woodley, so I'm going with Tyron Woodley here to get the knockout. Like I said, in the second round. But would I be surprised if Gilbert Burns, won a really close decision? No, I think Burns is the hungrier fighter, and if this fight comes down to who's more hungry, I think Burns is going to take that fight. But I do think Burns is going to get caught by a hard shot by Woodley. We've seen Woodley, knock down many people before, but yeah, I have Woodley here, and am I confident in it? Yeah, I'd say yeah. It's the mental part for me. On paper, it's Woodley all day. It's just the mental part. So, give me Woodley second round, and yeah. Well, that's about it, guys. If you guys enjoyed the breakdown, make sure you guys give this video a like. Like I said, almost 200 likes on the last video. If we can get anywhere near that, I'll be very happy. Let me know who you guys got. Let me know what you guys agree with and what you guys don't agree with. I'll make sure to get back to all the comments. Make sure you do not subscribe if you haven't yet. So you do not miss out on my other videos, DraftKings, Fandom. I'm trying to get a betting breakdown going, maybe Thursday, Friday night. I'm also trying to get somebody on here with me to go over the betting breakdown video. So if you know anybody that wants to come on, talk some bets, definitely can do a betting breakdown video, maybe Thursday, Friday night. I don't know if I'll bring somebody on, this week, but definitely in the future. If you guys know somebody, you want to see somebody come on here, definitely be more than happy to get someone on here and just go over the bets, go over the fights from a betting perspective as well. But that's about it, guys. Really looking forward to this card. I feel like I have a good read on a lot of these fights. Definitely a lot more confident in this card than I was in the past two cards. The past two cards, there were like a bunch of fights that can go either way. So this card, we got, a lot of fights I'm pretty confident in, like Casey Kenney, Roosevelt Roberts, Mackenzie Dern. I feel pretty confident in those big favorites there. I like Tyron Woodley quite a bit. Who else? Antonina, Shevchenko, I feel like that's a good pick there. And then we also got a lot of close fights like Chris Gutierrez, Vince Morales, Sakai Ivanov. So it's going to be a really fun card. If you guys have any bets, good luck on those. And until next time.